Okay, we're live now. Good afternoon to our special guests. Good afternoon to our attendees. We are on the Aviation Canteen Show, and today we'll be interacting with Phil Richardson Comey on the state of the National Commission on Culture. Phil Richardson Comey is the acting director for planning at the National Commission of Culture under the auspices of the Ministry of Arts, Culture and Tourism. Hello, Phil, how are you?
Hello, Lizzie, I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Okay, a minute. Someone says they can't hear, so I can't hear. Then please, I can't hear anything. Galaxy S6 Edge. Is it possible to log out and log back in again? Because I think the other attendees can hear. Let me see. Hello, Ahmed.
Hi, Lizzie. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. So you can hear me correctly.
I can hear you and see you very well. Good afternoon to you and your
Good afternoon. Okay. So Galaxy S6 Edge. Kindly log out and log back in again, or activate your audio, please. Thank you. Hello, Richardson. So it's a free for all interaction. We are going to talk about the National Commission on Culture. Kindly tell us what the National Commission on Culture is, because I think that a lot of people don't know what it is, and it's a mouthful as well. So let us know what the National Commission on Culture is, and then we can take it from there.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lizzie, once again for having me here to talk about the National Commission on Culture and its states presently. Well, the National Commission on Culture is a public institution mandated by law, PNDC Law 238, Act 1990, to manage generally the cultural life of the people of Ghana. And it started as an Art Council of Ghana right after Ghana's independence in 1957. Remember, during the colonial era, we had an institution called the British Art Council. And it was the job of the British Art Council to kind of institute programs that were purposely to educate the citizenry, that is the colony, the Gold Coast colony, about the cultures of Great Britain. And so in schools, students were learning and reading plays like Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet and all that. People who had not traveled beyond the shores of this country began to speak what they call the Queen's English. So after independence, Nkrumah realized that the impact of the British Art Council on the people was so huge. And so Nkrumah began a movement to kind of re-identify the Ghanaian and African identity, what he called the African personality identity. And so that led to Nkrumah starting what we call the cultural movement that brought the Art Council of Ghana, and then later the Institute of Arts and Culture. And then in 1990, whilst the country was preparing for the Fourth Republican Constitution, there was the need to also reconstitute public institutions that were very relevant to our societal development. And that was when the Art Council and the Institute of Art and Culture metamorphosed into what we now call the National Commission on Culture to, as it were, become the supervisory body working with the Centers for National Culture at the regional and district levels, the National Theatre of Ghana, Ghana Museums and Monument Board, Bureau of Ghana Languages, the National Folklore Board, and also the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, and of course, W.E. Du Bois Center. Then also to kind of monitor affiliate organizations like the Pan-African Writers Association, Musicians Union of Ghana, Ghana Actors Guild, and many other organizations. So basically, for the past 30 years, constitutionally, the National Commission on Culture is basically to manage everything that has to do with our cultural identity, anything that has to do with our cultural values and norms in Ghana. Lizzie, I can't hear you. Your microphone is.
In simple terms, what do you guys do? Guess in like 2 or 3 words.
Okay, right. So in simple terms, right, as I said, in general, we manage the cultural life of the people. So what we do is that we need to institute and promote programs that are geared towards developing the consciousness of the people of Ghana in relation to the values and norms that we have. And particularly, the Ghana Cultural Policy Document 2004 has highlighted some of the key values that our country should promote, and every Ghanaian should be seen to expressing them. And these values include truthfulness, honesty, selflessness, hard work, dignity, and integrity, patriotism. And so the commission is supposed to carefully select and promote activities that would kind of imbibe in the Ghanaian people these values. Now, the commission is also, in simple terms, to regulate all artistic guilds and groups in the country. So anybody who is into any kind of art, visual or performing art, individual or groups, musicians, are all to be regulated by the National Commission on Culture. And that is why we have the National Folklore Board, which is a wing of the National Commission on Culture that is even pursuing how our intangible cultural assets are being utilized by Ghanaians and those outside the country. And so if you are using indigenous song as a private person, you are supposed to pay some royalties to the state for using those indigenous songs. If you are using the Dinkra symbols as a private individual, we have businesses in this country that are using a Dinkra symbols as part of their logos and all that. The National Commission on Culture, through the National Folklore Board, is to regulate the use of these Dinkra symbols So
Okay,
that
so if a company in Ghana is using a Dinkra symbols, the person has to pay for the usage, right?
yes, the person has to pay for the usage.
I see.
Yes. And so the National Folklore Board is in charge of that. They have to do
So,
monitoring.
okay, but how well are you educating the common Ghanaian to know all this? That if I use an Adinkra symbol in my logo, I need to pay royalties. Why does a person need to pay royalties in the first place? Because the Adinkra symbols is for Ghanaians. So I
Right.
am thinking that we all have a right to use it as and when we want to use it.
Yeah, Lizzie. So you know that the coat of arm, for instance, is for Ghanaians.
Yeah.
But as a private individual, you cannot use that as a logo for GH-Aviation, can you?
No.
Yes, you can't. So it means that for the coat of arm, for instance, it is only public institutions that could use them even as part of their letterheads and all that.
Yeah.
So yes, the crash symbols belong to all of us. But immediately you want to use them for economic gains at certain point, you need to pay some monies to the state. And so currently we are even battling with the issue of textiles in this country where our symbols are being copied by the Chinese and others, and they are producing
Okay.
other
Okay.
textiles and all that.
Before you go on, so the use of textiles does it mean that the textile companies have to pay royalties for the use of this designs and the cloths? Because I think that it's rather promoting.
ATL and GTP are state institutions.
So they have
And
a right
so,
to use.
yes, and so whatever they do with the crash symbols, the monies come back to the states already.
Oh, okay.
But if a private institution copies these designs from ATL and then begins using them for private gains, then of course the person must also seek permission and pay some monies to the state for using those designs. Right. The commission is also to support all other relevant agencies that are doing something about arts and culture. And I mentioned some institutions that the commission has to also support or regulate,
Yeah.
like the National Theatre of Ghana, the Bureau of Ghana Languages and all that, to make sure that the Ghanaian language is well promoted, even in our educational institutions and all that, so that the key languages you have that identify us as a people are also not lost.
Okay. So from what you're saying, these are the things you're supposed to do. Okay.
These are the things we are doing.
Are you
not
sure?
what we're supposed to do.
Really? Because as I said, when you hear the name National Commission on Culture, it presupposes that everything culture in our country is under you.
Yes.
But as a layman sitting in my office, I don't see our culture being promoted well, our culture being taken to the next level.
Okay.
For instance, I'm thinking that National Commission on Culture, you can work with the National Civic NCCE to
Okay.
promote everything culture, so that the things that we see on our tellies, most of them will be projecting our culture. But that is not what is happening now. Am I right?
Yes. Lizzie, the commission has been working tirelessly, but you know that because there are a lot of things happening at a time, we take some of these things one after the other. Of course, during the last session that we had that I was on the platform, I made mention of the fact that we even have issues concerning the kind of television content that we are having in this country. It is a very big issue. But then we have institutions that have been mandated by law, like the Media Commission and the Ministry of Information, for instance, and then a Communications Authority, to look at some of these things. And so it becomes very difficult for the Commission to do a direct kind of monitoring and institute some directions. What we have to do as a commission is to advise through some of these commissions, like the Media Commission and then Communications Authority, as to how best they could regulate the media landscape so that we don't lose the content that are relevant to the Ghanaian society. And so we have issues about the numerous telenovelas that are overtaking the television stations in this country. I think that some of them thought that for the fact that they are now doing, what do you call it, a local language on top of the, yes, on top of what they show, then it means that they are showcasing some Ghanaian content of a sort. But you look at the content itself, the kind of costume the people wear, the kind of belief systems they show.
And even the language they use. Fair enough, they are speaking Twi, but the kind of things that come out from the communication, most is insulting.
Exactly.
Yes. So
exactly.
That your outfit has to come into this. You have to start working, because this is our homes now, and our televisions are made up of all these Twi novellas.
Sure.
Okay, so I am thinking that I think Adom is doing something different, where they've introduced the Twi novellas with the Mercies and all. They have to be helped. You need to help those people to come up so that we will forgo the foreign ones and be interested in the local ones, which is really projecting our culture.
Exactly. Lizzie, I wouldn't be tempted to talk about the institution's challenges right now. Maybe in the course of the discussion, definitely we'll come to that end. Yeah, but for the fact that I'm even talking about them, to tell you that we are doing something about them. And that is why, from the official point of view, I have made such statement that we have identified. Of course, we even have issues about who a Ghanaian celebrity should be.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Example?
And so I don't want to sound controversial.
No,
anyway,
okay.
Yes,
so who a Ghanaian celebrity should be?
Good.
What are some things that you need to
Who should
identify?
be? Yes. There are a lot of people who call themselves celebrities or popular personalities in this country.
Yeah.
But you ask yourself the kind of impact they are making on the people who are following them.
Okay.
You, as a media person, would know that recently there were a lot of naked images surrounding, yes, on our social media networks and all that. Yeah. And then you ask yourself, these are people that are recognized as celebrities in this country. But when you go to your village and then they tell you that Papai or your Brimpon, you within the Ghanaian context, say Obi or Brimpon and answer or Mama, it carries some cherished values, positive values that the person is imparting the society with. And that is why he has been given such a status. Yeah. So we need to transfer that into our contemporary terms when we are discussing who a celebrity should be, and not give that name to just anybody.
So it means that as a country we are confused.
Yes,
definition.
Yes, we are confused. The media is confused. The television stations and the radio stations are confused. The people they invite and call them Ghanaian celebrities. If they are celebrities, fine. But if you say they are Ghanaian celebrities, then how are you connecting them to Ghana? What are the values? What are the positive impact that these are making? When these people are influencing others to come and show their naked bodies to the media, is that the kind of celebrities we are promoting?
Yeah, Richardson.
When people are singing songs that are promoting promiscuity, is that what Ghanaian celebrity is about?
Richardson, a quick question. You spoke about the values that the commission stands for, that you're projecting to the Ghanaian as a whole.
Yes.
But do you promote them? Do you bring it out for everyone to know that these are the core values you should have as a Ghanaian? Because this is the first time I'm hearing of this, with all the values that you mentioned. But I would say that I am always on social media, I am always listening to radio, watching televisions, but this is the first time I am hearing this from your end. How are you promoting it? How are you projecting it? Who needs to know about these values?
Okay, so right for the word go, I said we manage the cultural life of the people of Ghana. So every Ghanaian needs to know. And we do that through the programs that we run. The Centers for National Culture are our key implementing institution. And so the regional centers and the district centers of national culture have been organizing a lot of programs. Now we have what we call, for instance, the Students Drama Festival that has been running for the past 30 years, right?
Really?
For senior high schools.
Okay.
And what we do is that anytime we are organizing this event, we come out with a topic that promotes some of these values I've outlined, and the students are to write their stories to promote these values and come and perform them. Out of that, we identify people who are good with acting, who are good with costume and fashion, who are good with directing, story writing, and all that. And then we begin grooming some of them and motivate them to pursue further career lines in those areas. We have also been organizing the popular National Festival of Arts and Culture, for instance, which is a 10-day event that rotates, among the regions of Ghana. The very last one we had was last year. It happened in Koforidua in November last year, for instance. We create a platform for artists, for instance, to come and showcase what they are doing for the purposes of giving them economic advantage and exposing them to the world. And as part of it, we do presentations region by region for the regions to also showcase what is peculiar to their region, including their tourist attractions and all that. Lizzie, your microphone is off, so if you are talking to me, I don't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah. So you just made mention of the things that you do, and then in hand with the tourism department.
Well, the GTA, or Ghana Tourism Authority, of course, is also an umbrella under the same ministry that the commission is also under. And
Okay.
so as part of what we do, and of course, the argument the National Commission on Culture has made, which is a true argument, is that tourism rides on the back of culture.
Yeah.
And so anything that culture does, there's an aspect of tourism. And so when it comes to the National Festival of Arts and Culture, there's a showcase of the heritage of the people, which includes some tourist attractions that are peculiar to a region. And so all the regions come together at one platform and present the uniqueness of their regions, for instance. We also have the Wear Ghana program, which also started, I think, almost half a decade ago, or about 3-4 years ago, where we specifically promote made in Ghana product.
Okay, so
Wear
that
Ghana.
Project, so that project is for the NCC.
Yes, it's the NCC's program.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we do that in partnership with Mr. Wear Ghana, with GTP, with ATL, with our state institutions that are also factories that are also, producing made in Ghana textiles, right? And so there's more than a week of activities where the commission engages the media and educate people to patronize Ghanaian textiles, to patronize Ghanaian fashion. And then we crown it all with a fashion show where we bring together a lot of fashion designers who are interested in using our Ghanaian fabric to design, to also come and show wonderful design they've made, as part of promoting them and creating the opportunity for people to reach out to them for what they want to wear. So these are also some of the programs we do. Apart from that, we are also to identify and resource creative talent.
Okay.
So the Centers for National Culture have also instituted what they call the Marketable Skills Training Program. And what they do is that every year they invite unemployed youth and vulnerable people who want to learn some skills in bead making, in sewing, in floral arrangement and decoration, hair braiding, and all that. So they are trained for free. All that they do, they have to pick a form for 50 cedis, and all other items are provided by the centers. And they are trained. Some are trained for a month, some are trained for 3 months, and all that. And then a graduation ceremony is organized for them to go out and use what they've learned. I don't know if you've also heard about the Community Youth Cultural Center at Kaukudi. So that is
Okay. So Kaukudi, where
yes.
the presupposed art center is located at.
Yeah, we call it the Community Youth Cultural Center. Yes. So the Community Youth Cultural Center is like a studio to the National Commission on Culture. And for so many years, a lot of young people have been trained from the Community Youth Cultural Center who are now using the skills that they learned from there, to do business. So our own popular Anas Arimeyab Anas, for instance, was once trained by the Community Youth Cultural Center. And so there are a lot of people.
No, Richard, so let me come in. Anas was trained by the Community Youth Center.
Community Youth Cultural Center in Kaukudi, yes.
Oh, all right. I'm getting confused. The Kaukudi land that has been assigned to the art center guys from Accra. Is that the same place you're talking about?
Yes, it is already a property of the National Commission on Culture.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yes. And so it is on the same land that we have the Bureau of Ghana Languages there.
Okay.
So the entire place is for the Commission on Culture. And the CYCC has been reaching out to the Nima Mamobi people, identifying school dropouts, identifying street children and all that, and give them some kind of skills. I think that you have to find time and engage the director of the Community Youth Cultural Center. She will have a lot to tell you.
That would be great.
Yes, Dr. Akosua Abdallah. She will have a lot to tell you about the impact that the Community Youth Cultural Center, which is a wing of the National Commission on Culture, is doing for the youth and people of that area.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We have a question in the chat box. Someone says, I have a problem with the way and manner the screens and social media is bombarded with obscene things. That actually is far from our culture. There are a lot of movies that come up in such a manner that is shameful to watch and in effect rather promote promiscuity. So I think that's a contribution from Eunice Tamaklo. And what are you guys doing about this? You've already spoken about it, that you're working on it, but how fast can we get the results? Because 24/7, these things are happening. It's coming from even our local artists, that is our musicians, our in quotes, Ghanaian celebrities, etc. What are you doing about it? Is there a rule? Is there a law that needs to be applied so that these people project the real Ghanaian culture? Because I know that you mentioned the national folklore, and I even read a story about the folklore with regards to this movie, the Black Panther movie. Yes, where the
for the use of kente.
Yes,
for the use of kente as part of their costume.
Yes, that they are seeing them for them to pay Ghana and all. So it means that there are laws that can be used in regulating all these things that are happening on our media space and then our daily lives.
Yes, the National Folklore Board just activated the copyright law. So Ghana has a Copyright Act, and that is what the Folklore Board activated. Okay. But currently, as we speak, we do not have a Ghana broadcasting law. I think we now have a bill that is receiving attention in Parliament. And so, Lizzie, that is where the problem is. Until there's a law, you have to just be, just kind of promoting this conversation and kind of instituting dialogues that will educate people about the need to rather concentrate on promoting our Ghanaian values. But apart from that, if we should be going around to stop people from doing these things, then we should have a law that will support that action. Okay. And that law is not in place yet. And as I said, even if it is not for the commission to take that action. We have the Media Commission there. We have the Communications Authority there. And then we also have the Ministry of Communications, and then we have the Ministry of Information. These ministries and agencies are supposed to also consider the values and the norms of our people as part of the regulations that they put out there. And so we will have to draw their attention, but they have to take the action if some institutions are not abiding by the rules.
Okay. All right. So from Precious, she's saying CYCC at Kalkudi. Yes, Anas was trained there. He was a drama. Oh, wow. I was one of them. I was sad when I visited there to see the place deserted. So from Precious, the place is deserted. How come?
Well, Lizzie, I wouldn't say so, but from the inception of the CYCC, the resources that were available to them isn't what we have today. Okay. I must tell you that the current director of the place, Dr. Akosi Abdullah, has been doing so well. You'll be surprised that at a certain point, she has to personally spend from her pocket to make sure certain things work.
Wow.
Right. So the intervals at which CYCC was organizing these training programs for its target people has reduced. In fact, if they were doing it almost every quarter, now they have to do it maybe once or twice in a year.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so I don't really know when Precious went there, but maybe from his or her experience in the past where the place was almost busy, every day busy. It's not like that today because of lack of limited resources. So we need to mobilize enough before we put out one training program and wait to mobilize more to do another. So the consistency, and it's not as it used to be, where you may have to have it almost every time.
But the CYCC's work, is it not fixed in the budget? For instance, the Ministry of Tourism, when they are bringing out a budget for the year, don't they inculcate some of these things in the budget? Because reading what Precious just said and listening to you with regards to even Anas being trained from that, and I think that is a good place to train even people who have never gone to school before, people who return in quotes as vagabonds and all, to bring out their artistic side. So CYCC, is it not embedded in the budget for the ministry or for the NCC?
Well, it's just like asking whether the National Commission on Culture does not have a budget.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a budget, and it is the Commission on Culture that is supposed to finance all the activities of the CYCC.
Okay.
And as I said, the activities are more targeted at the vulnerable, the unemployed, the street child, the dropout. And these people are people who already have financial challenges. And so you don't expect them to come and pay for the training you are giving them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it means that the project must be fully funded by the institution for the beneficiaries to be able to take advantage of it. But what the Commission on Culture is facing now is a huge budget cut.
When you say budget cuts,
what I mean is that you present a budget of 10 cedis,
mm-hmm.
and government tells you that I can only give you 2 cedis. What are you going to do? Okay?
Why?
Because, yes, because we need to struggle with what government also says, the limited resources of the state with other institutions. And so government feels that I cannot give you all the 10 cedis because another institution will suffer, another project will suffer. So take 2 cedis and go and create something out of it. I see that as one of the major challenges of the National Commission on Culture and the Regional Centers for National Culture. Funding from the state is a huge problem.
Okay,
the understanding of the activities of the commission and how the state should pay attention to the institution is not there.
Okay, so you just mentioned the understanding. Is it that the state does not understand what you guys do, or you were given a certain budget and the job was not done? So the state does not see why they should invest in such a commission again.
Listen, there is no record of the commission underperforming or performing below the budget that has been given to it. But there is always a record of how much the commission proposed to spend and how much was approved and how much was even actually released. In some cases, even the 2 cedis that have been approved, you don't get all the 2 cedis.
Wow.
Right? So the 2 cedis is approved on paper, but you have to be lucky to even receive the 2 cedis in reality. So there are always three levels of funding: the proposed figure, the approved figure, and the actual release.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So
yes,
then it means that,
and those evidence those evidence are there. You can always verify.
So it means that the powers that be don't see the importance of the commission, or don't see the
I think
importance of our culture.
I think slowly that is what we are experiencing. Because it wasn't the case in the 90s.
Okay.
Okay, so but we realize that slowly this is what we are beginning to face. That anytime you want to talk about culture and the promotion of arts and culture, the understanding of certain people is reduced to drumming and dancing.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and so somebody at the helm of affairs will think that it will be better for me to invest in the security of this country. It will be better for me to invest in the health of this country. It will be better for me to invest in the education of this country than to invest in the activities of the National Commission on Culture. But I want to tell you that
Culture forms part of the education, right?
exactly, a culture forms part of even security. If the National Commission on Culture is well resourced and is able to undertake all its activities, I would want to tell you that at a point you wouldn't even need our security on the street.
Okay.
Because respect and discipline is part of the Ghanaian values. It is what identifies us as a people. And so you don't need a policeman to tell you I'll arrest you. You don't need to be prosecuted before you respect the law.
Because you know what to do.
You know what to do. In our communities, they did not have police officers there, but we have communal laws that says that people should not visit this place at this time, and they will all obey.
Of course.
So you ask yourself, why do you need a policeman? There are a lot of people who are committing crime not because we lack the police or the police lack resources or logistics to work, but it is because they do not have the values in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is the values that we need to promote. There are a lot of people who are dying from our hospitals, not because there are no medications, that not because we don't have the health professionals to take care of them, but the people to ensure that this person lives lacks the values, the cultural values that makes you feel for your fellow Ghanaian. Right. We are now talking about having stringent laws that will fight corruption in this country, for example. And that's led to this current government establishing the Special Prosecutor's Office. But I want to tell you that the fight against corruption is not about laws and it's not about the Special Prosecutor's Office. It's about the lack of Ghanaian values, honesty, truthfulness, patriotism, discipline. If you have these in the political leader, you don't need any law to frighten him. He or she will do the right thing.
Do the right thing. But okay, Phil, we have some questions here. But before I start with the questions, you just spoke about our political leaders. Now, you said in the 90s, you had a budget to project all these values. Our political leaders now are from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Did they not learn anything from that era that they can teach us now? Because this problem you're talking about is starting from our generation, sort of. But these people who are leading us are from the older generation. So really, if the NCC did its job, then these values are supposed to be in them. Okay, that is my question. But you think about it. Let me ask a question from Eric. He's saying, I think the Commission's conceptualization of culture is a little problematic. From Theo's description, one seemed to get the sense that a Ghanaian culture is one of yesteryears. Is it the case that the Commission does not see how we live today as a culture? Please, did you get the question?
Yes. Yeah. I think that Eric may be right at a certain point, and also not right at another point. And the answer is that culture is definitely dynamic, and so it evolves as you go along. It changes, but there are elements you take along all the time that are not non-negotiable. You are not supposed to leave them behind, right? So if I talk about Ghanaian values and norms,
Yeah.
I'm talking about values that we must take along, no matter the dynamics that have taken place within our cultural space. So
Okay.
that is very key. Of course, culture is the way a group of people live. A group of people. And so at every given point in time, we need to talk about what is the new norm. Okay, that is where Eric is coming from. What is today's way of living, and what that is not culture. It is, but it means that it's a group of people, not the way an individual wants to live.
Okay.
So in the argument of culture, we have what we call the collective right and the individual right. Anytime we talk about norm, we are talking about what is collectively acceptable and not what an individual thinks I have the right to do. So when collectively we believe that this is a kind of value we should continue to cherish, then the individual must respect the collective right in this instance. So yes, the commission admits that the way we live today is very, very important, but it does not stop us from pulling along the values and norms that we think are good in our past.
Okay. Galaxy S6H Plus. Please, you are allowed to talk. You can ask your question. Galaxy S6H Plus. Hello. You raised your hand. Please, you are permitted to speak. Hello. Wow. You said you may run out of power and you're allowed to speak now. Okay. So before he or she comes back on, number 2, second question, it says, what is FIO's take on the issue of indigents paying for using their own expressive culture? Judging from what Collins in a paper on copyright said, that there were initial issues with the drafting of the law. So I think I asked this question
Yes.
when we started, yes.
Yes, of course. I know it has been a concern of many, but that is how the law stands now. And you see, the difficulty is at what point that you could say that the indigene is not using this for economic purposes, right? That is the difficulty. And so I know there have been concerns towards the amendment of the law to make it kind of free for indigenes to use our expressive culture as and when they like. But as the point I made is that it is very difficult also to know at what point you think that the indigene is really using it for the purposes of either education or preservation or presentation of that expressive culture and not for nothing else. So that conversation has begun. It is not only for the National Commission on Culture to decide how the law should be, but these are conversations we have been having on that particular law.
I think that if an indigent is using, for instance, the guitar symbol, it's rather promoting the culture. So why does the person have to pay for it, even if the person is using it for economic gain?
Sorry, Lizzie, I can't hear you well.
Hello.
Uh-huh.
Yes. What I'm saying is that If an indigene is using, for instance, the Adinkra symbols, it's rather promoting and projecting the culture of Ghana. Why should that person have to pay, even if he's using it for economic gains? Because when the symbols, when the culture goes out there, that is how come we'll get more people from outside, from wherever they are, to enjoy what we have as Ghanaians. But if I have to pay for using Adinkra symbols, you think that I'll be using them? No, I would rather go on the net and get some designs which don't have copyrights and use. And that is how come we project more of the foreign culture rather than our local culture, because it seems that everything that is local is so expensive.
Well, Lizzie, the point here is that we will have to also look at the economic gains that these expressive cultures bring to us as a people. You know that when you are very versed in tourism, you know that when a Ghanaian goes to the castle, for instance, he or she pays something.
Yeah.
Okay, just that the foreigner pays higher than the
Yeah.
Ghanaian. Yes, so we can make the argument that so far as it is a site here in Ghana, why should the Ghanaian pay? But then,
That is also an argument that we need to look at.
okay, but now you, but now you ask the question. The other point is that at a certain point, some of these things must also meet the state expenditure in some way.
Okay.
Okay. So for a Ghanaian paying for using a Dinkra A or B may not be the same amount that a foreigner will use and pay. Okay. And the other point is that it is even not all the time that the person needs to pay. At a certain point, the person needs to acknowledge where it is coming from. I mean, you cannot take some designs and try to pretend it is your own. So you take permission from, you write to the appropriate institutions why you want to use it and what you are using it for, and the kind of impact you think it will make for the society. But if you don't do that, and through monitoring, somebody finds that you are using this or that, that will not be the platform for you to explain how beneficial your activity will have or how profitable it will be for the country. So these are the dynamics. Of course, it means that it will be on record that Lizzie is using this for that. And so it can also become part of the reporting of the institution,
Okay.
that this is how far people are using item A or B for, and this is what we are benefiting from. But if it does not happen like that, it means that you have a different motive apart from what you are telling people you are using it for.
Oh, okay. So, for instance, Aviator, we are working on flyers, and then we use Adinkra symbols, or we use any symbol that the national folklore thinks that we need to pay for. It's copyrighted.
Yeah, you see, the Adinkra symbols in all, as we speak, one after the other, have not been specifically listed on any major platform for you to know that, okay, when you go to this platform, you will know directly what Ghanaian Adinkra symbols are. And this is an authority to say that these ones belong to the state. Currently, that is one of the activities that the Folklore Board, the National Commission on Culture, and other agencies are working on, including making sure that they list all these intangible cultural assets on a UNESCO data platform, where foreign countries will also know that if you are using anything connected to some of these images, then you should know that you are entering the terrain of Ghana.
Oh, okay, so you need to.
Right. So I think that when we get to that level, then we will know at what level a Ghanaian institution or individual could use some of these things and all that. But we are not there yet.
Because most of the Dinkra symbols are used by our brothers at the art center. So the other question I'm asking is that, do they need to pay when they use those symbols? Because at the end of the day,
they are paying already.
they are paying. Wow. That is why the things are so expensive.
The assembly takes money from them. The assembly takes money for
the work that they do.
The assembly takes money from them. They also pay some monies to the center.
No, okay, just a clarification. For the symbols they use or for the job they are doing?
Well, I think that for now, one, they pay for the job that they are doing. They pay for the space that they are occupying.
Fine.
But basically, as I said, the regulation of that use of the symbols for profit gains and all that is something that the board is still working on. A lot of the times they go around with people, but their very first target is to look at foreigners and how they are using them before they look at how the Ghanaian is also using them.
Oh, okay. Another question from Eric. Does the National Arts Festival truly embody and characterize our national arts? Can the commission rethink this, especially when it could be a source of income generation for the commission?
Great. It's a very brilliant suggestion. But the commission has also always had the issue. You know, Lizzie, you even said that you don't know some of the things I said the commission does.
Yeah.
And so if you are an artist, then for the first time you heard about the commission, it is asking you to come and pay to showcase what you are doing as a Ghanaian. You ask yourself that then what is the country doing for you as a Ghanaian who want to set up or start something, right? So basically, when we are organizing the National Festival of Arts and Culture, we don't look at how much we will gain as an institution financially, but we look at creating the enabling platform for artists rather to come and make business and showcase what they can do, establish networks and connections with others and share ideas among themselves. But when the commission is well resourced, it means that we can do more than the National Festival of Arts and Culture. So we can institute other events where you could pay to register to be part of it, right? So that people will understand that at certain levels, the commission does certain things for free, and at certain levels too, you have to pay to participate. But if all the time we come out, it is demanding for something from the people before they get the opportunity to be on our platforms, that also become something else. And of course, the law that establishes the commission now does not identify the commission as a profit-making organization.
Okay.
Yes, so that is not really our focus. If we should organize anything and we get some money in return, that is a secondary matter. But it is not a major focus of the commission to go out there and make profit for itself.
But I think that the commission should start thinking about it, because if the budget allocation for the things that you do is minimal, you can use some of these things to add up to the budget that you have. Because your impact needs to be felt. But if your impact is not being felt, then I don't think there is a need for the commission to be. So first and foremost, government is not bringing the money, but you have other things. For instance, what he spoke about, the National Arts Festival. It is a great program. This is a program that I think you can work hand in hand, even with the travel and tour agents, or the trade associations to help promote it for it to become bigger, bring in more people. So even if you don't take what is it called, venue fees or gate fees, but you subsidize the exhibition center for anyone who will come and project something of Ghanaian culture. At least you get something minimal to add up to your budget, and it can help the CYCC. I think that is something that you guys need to think about. You are not monetizing anything, but you're just trying to do something to add up to the little budgets that you have, so that at the end of the day, you can still be able to do the other programs that has made up what the NCC is. Okay, there is another question. He says, how does or have the commission engaged with the educational institutions in its activities? For instance, is it not interesting to observe that at University of Ghana, there is no faculty or school for languages, for instance? Really, there is a school of languages at the University of Ghana, right? Or they don't teach our local dialect.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure of the faculties at the University of Ghana, but the issue about the kind of relationship or what we need to do with educational institutions is also a matter of concern. In fact, it is part of the responsibilities of the National Commission on Culture to collaborate with educational institutions when it comes to curriculum development. But as I speak to you now, there isn't that kind of relationship, right? The Ghana Education Service or the Ministry of Education does not have any active consultative engagement with the National Commission on Culture when it comes to developing curriculum for basic or first and second cycle schools, and not even to even talk about the tertiary institutions. So these are some of the major challenges. At a certain point in time, we had culture as part of the education ministry. And so it was easier for cultural experts and workers to make input into educational content. But now it is not like that. The Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education has its own cultural unit, for instance, where they expect some kind of technical input from there. But then when you look at the structures of the operations of the educational institution, the unit is supposed to serve as a facilitator. And so the unit rather should be advising the Ghana Education Service to engage the National Commission on Culture, which is the only institution in this country mandated by law to promote our culture, in a way that goes down to the community level.
Okay.
Right. So we now have a situation on our hands where in our basic schools, cultural activities really does not take place. And so it is just within the prerogative of a headmaster or headmistress whether to allow students to partake in a cultural activity or not, except the cultural activities that have been sanctioned by the cultural unit of Ghana Education Service. So it is even very difficult for the Centers for National Culture at the district and regional levels to engage students for their cultural activities. You need to push very hard to get approval from Ghana Education Service before students can partake in cultural activities. And when you look at the curriculum, yes, they will have to approve. If you don't have the district or regional director's signed letter attached to your letter, no school will partake in your program, no matter how beneficial it's going to be for the student, right? So we are skewed towards what we now call STEM: science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
Yes, but there's no culture there. So I think that
Great.
I prefer the STEAM, because the STEAM, the A stands for art.
Right. So it is not like that now. And so if if students want to partake in a cultural activity and a mathematics teacher also needs time to teach, definitely the cultural activity will not happen. The children must go and study mathematics because it is more important than a cultural activity.
But I think the cultural activity should come before the maths, because when you engage in culture, for instance, dancing, drumming, it opens up your mind. You are more relaxed to receive any other thing. That's why they say exercise is good. So, okay. I'm thinking that you need to engage these other stakeholders, because what you do is very important in our way of living. I run a Montessori, and I have a session for dancing, but the dancing that we do, we learn ballet.
Okay.
We are supposed to be learning our local things, our culture, drumming, learning about the various dances, speaking our local dialects. But we do what the foreigners do. We are learning ballet. We are trying to speak Spanish, French, and all, without even thinking about what we have here. The reason that why we are doing that is that we don't see, how do I say, is it the importance of that learning our culture brings to us? Because if you go out there, what are you promoting? What are you projecting? People receive you better when they see that you are more skewed to the foreign side of things rather than the Ghanaian side of things. And I would say that is due to the fact that we don't see the importance of what we have. So it's up to the NCC to let us see the importance of what we have, because it is your mandate. Before you answer, I have Auntie Akosia on the line.
Okay.
Yes, let's welcome her. Hello, Auntie Akosia. Hello. Okay, she's on mute.
Is that Auntie Akosia Abdallah?
Yes.
Hey, that's my boss.
Yeah, so we have her online.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome her. But so it's your job. No matter what you say today, like on this platform, it is your job. And I think that posterity would look at you guys and say, no, you've not done something right. The next generation that is coming up don't know or understand anything about the Ghanaian culture, because my generation don't understand it. And we are training our kids to be more foreign than what we have in Ghana, because we believe that they place more importance on you being foreign. Even how we speak, our tonation. We are teaching our kids to speak like the American, like the British. So any child who has that local dialect, local tonation in his or her English, we deem that child as not being part of the A-class people. Yes. So this is your job. Seriously.
Yeah, Lizzie, it is our job, and we are doing the best we can within the limited resources. I told you when we began that maybe we need to concentrate on the achievements, what we have been doing. We've been able to, for almost a decade now, we've been able to train thousands of people who now have their own jobs. Oh, okay. So we have people who are into bidding, we have people into other economic activities who were trained by the regional centers across the country. When you go to the northern side, we have a lot of people who have learned how to weave smoke and all that and are making economic gains from it. And they were trained from the Centers for National Culture. No, so
Richardson, They were trained by you, but did you give them a train the trainer course? That after training those 1,000 people, they'll also come into the community and train others. Because with the limited resources that the commission has, I don't think that you'll be able to train everyone in Ghana. But at least the little that you train them as train the trainer so that they can also come out and train people. Even if it's not training people for free, they can train people and get something, which at the end of the day would bring a good name to the commission.
Of course, we do. As part of my work as a research officer, that is one of the current projects we are undertaking. Going back a decade ago and looking at the impact that we've made through these people that we've trained. And of course, even with the current activities we undertake, we bring some of our own products as resource persons to come and train the new entrants. So we are doing that. We have started going back a decade to look at how far we have reached so that people who have been trained by our own product, who may not even know CNC or the National Commission on Culture, will be able to capture all of them as the extent of how we have impacted society. But then the National Commission on Culture is saddled with so many challenges, Lizzie. And I must be honest with you, and I need to speak as a Ghanaian.
Okay.
Who is very passionate about working for a commission like a commission on culture, whose role is very key to the development of our country. In all facets of our lives, just like Eric Sunudo has argued, is our culture. So whatever is happening today, the good side and bad side, should be seen as our culture. And so if now the Ghanaian is becoming more violent than before, then it means that very soon that will become the accepted norm. But is that the way to go? So we need to resource the National Commission on Culture to be able to deliver on its mandate, even with some of the issues about the conceptualization of what culture should be, which Eric also said is problematic. It all comes back to the fact that we even need resources to review the Ghana cultural policy, which was assented to by the former President Kufuor in 2004. Right. So in the review, definitely the policy need to open up to accept a lot of new dimensions when it comes to what culture is and what Ghanaian culture should be. But until then, the policy that is guiding us is what I'm arguing from. Lizzie, as we speak, the National Commission on Culture itself does not even have any operational vehicle. Mm-hmm. Okay, so as an acting director who's in charge of monitoring, who is in charge of planning, research, monitoring, and evaluation.
And the organization does not have an official vehicle to do basically.
I'm saying that as the acting director in charge of planning, research, look at the functions: research, monitoring, evaluation.
Yeah.
I don't have a vehicle. The national, the executive director is using a very old vehicle.
Wow.
And so I must commend my boss, Madam Janet Ednanyame, for accepting the appointment to be the executive director of the National Commission on Culture, because it is one, I think it will be one of the leading under-resourced institutions in this country.
It's kind of like it's right. It's obscured sort of.
Oh, Lizzie, Lizzie, you see, some of the things I'm talking about. I mean, you had people who have come here to say that in the 90s, 92, 93, they were with CYCC.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't be like we have been somewhere and people do not know us, or even the ministry does not know us, or does not know what we do, or the challenges are not clear to authorities and all that. And I wouldn't want to put the entire blame on the current government. I mean, successive governments, have failed to pay attention to the National Commission on Culture. You go to all the regional centers and ask whether they have vehicles, whether the regional director is able to do effective monitoring in the districts to find out what really is going on in the district offices. They do not have vehicles.
But those are basic things. Those are basic things that you need.
Yes, those are basic things. Pickups for them to go around, because we are represented in every district of this country. Okay, so a regional director, as part of his or her job, is not supposed to sit at the regional office, but he's supposed to monitor how the districts are functioning. But there are no vehicles. We don't even have, So the commission itself needs a lot of resources. During the peak season of the COVID in Ghana, the commission prepared a lot of proposals. We even had the opportunity to meet the president on some of our proposals, because we also realized that there's a cultural component that we need to pay attention to when it comes to the COVID education in our country. Okay?
Yeah.
We went through a lot of steps. The regional centers, some produce Nyomkro, puppetry shows, radio drama, and all that. We needed money to broadcast some of these things. We had to talk to GBC, also as a state institution, to see us as a sister agency and do some of these things for us pro bono, by asking some of their regional radio stations to air some of our works for free, right? So these are some of the challenges we are going through. And of course, you know that there are very powerful media outlets that are private, and you cannot engage them for free. Even if they will have to support you, they will have to they'll give you a waiver, but you still have to pay.
Pay something, yeah.
Pay something. So these are the challenges that the PR session, for instance, of the National Commission on Culture is facing. We are talking about education. We've undertaken a lot of research that must be broadcasted. Okay, that people, experts from the commission, must get platforms like what you have given to us for free. Okay, in other major radio and television outlets, for some of this education to go on.
Yeah.
But you need to pay for this airtime and all that. If it's not really critical within their own program outline for them to invite you, and you want to get the space for purposes of education, then you need to pay. So these are some of the challenges we are going through. And my executive director has been working tirelessly around the clock to get some kind of attention. And we hope that very soon it will yield some kind of result. But I must say that the understanding of policymakers, not just this government, but successive government, on what our institution could do and the role it can play in national development is quite limited. If we should even look at the manifesto promises that the major political parties have made towards the 2020 elections, and when you look at the cultural sector or the creative sector promises that they've made, it's a bit problematic.
Of course.
Yes, it's a bit problematic,
So they are not really factoring that aspect.
Exactly. And I asked myself, what stopped the political parties from consulting the National Commission on Culture, for instance, that we want to draft a manifesto for the cultural sector. And you as an institution, what are the areas that you think that should we become the government in power in 2021? These are the areas we should pay attention to. No political party, as far as I know, as you know, as a research officer, no political party has officially consulted the commission.
So it cements my point that your commission basically is not known. People don't really see the importance of the commission, because really, if they saw the importance of the commission, they would be consulting you from time to time. But anyways, let's take the last question from Eric. He's saying, in relation to aviation, what has or is the commission doing to bring our expressive culture as the first thing at our airports? It's a very important question, very laudable question in terms of aviation, because let's say the airports are the first point of contact that a person gets to before entering into Ghana or Accra or wherever. What have you guys done? Previously, you said you work with the Ghana Tourism Authority. So
Yes,
if you're working with the
agency.
Ghana, yes, as a sister agency, if you're working with the Ghana Tourism Authority, and they also have interest in the aviation industry, what is really happening? Because you enter our airports, for instance, our Terminal 3, and you don't see anything Ghanaian.
Great. Lizzie, so I know this question is very juicy for you as well. Yes, I mentioned earlier that we really have a policy issue. The synergy of our ministries and how they are supposed to work together has been very, very problematic. Mind you, recently, my executive director has raised this point on embassies and Ghanaian missions abroad and cultural attaches to these embassies and missions abroad. Who are these cultural attaches? What are really their background and their expertise? And what are they really promoting about Ghana when it comes to culture? But as we speak, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs does not consult the Commission on Culture before they employ somebody as a cultural attaché.
Okay.
You don't even sit on the panel that interviews them. Maybe, just as a representative to be able to, question the person in a certain way to be able to confirm that this person has some appreciable level of knowledge when it comes to the job that you are assigning to the person. But the ministry, the Foreign Affairs Ministry has its own cultural desk, for instance, that is far disconnected from the National Commission on Culture. Right. We have a ministry that is also in charge of our aviation that has nothing to do with the National Commission on Culture.
Why?
Okay. Right. So we will have to ask the policy maker. Unfortunately, the commission is not is not in charge of policy formulation. The commission is expected to advise the minister and the ministry on policy formulation. So the ministry that works on policy formulation, and we will just have to advise. Right. So the question then goes back to the policymaker and the formulator, why we have educated them about all these things, and they don't seem to create the synergy among these institutions, because it should be our role to make sure that when you enter Terminal 3, you will feel everything Ghana.
Yeah.
Right. But the question now is, what control does the National Commission on Culture has if not through the ministry in charge of aviation, if not through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the commission can virtually do nothing. All we can do is that advocacy, speak about them as we are speaking about it today, and other platforms that we can have. But when it comes to having the control to walk the talk from this point, it means that there should be a policy that will create the opportunity for the commission to either do this directly or ensure that the people who are supposed to do it have done it.
Okay.
So that is the issue. We have the concern. The very first time I had the opportunity to travel, I had a problem with even the kind of videos that were, that you'll be able to have the opportunity to watch, okay, whilst on the flight.
Yeah.
And I was asking myself, there's nothing Ghanaian about some of these videos. I don't know whether it has changed now, but from the time I traveled, I was shocked the kind of videos. Some were even by Ghanaian filmmakers, but the content really, you and I know that a lot of things are wrong, even with the kind of films that we have been watching these days. And those are some of the films I had the opportunity to view whilst I was on board. So
yeah, Richardson, you see, when it comes to the film industry, that is also another topic on its own, because you're looking at films with international standards. I was watching a movie, I think an Hollywood movie, and they were saying that they are the second in terms of revenue.
Yes.
In the whole world. So second to Hollywood. Now, I asked myself, where does Ghana fall? Does Ghana have a film industry? A point in time comes, we say we are Gollywood. Tomorrow we are Kumawood. Tomorrow next we are something else. Apart from the name, the things that we show in our movies, what we showcase, are they international standards? If, for instance, all things being fair, we encourage these airlines to show Ghanaian content. Can you mention even just one film, one movie that they would be able to show on board and it will capture someone's attention throughout the flight? I don't think we have something like that in Ghana now. And
really?
The reason why we don't have these things is because they are not regulated. Everybody can do whatever they want to do. The movies that are being shown, movie producers, they are all not, I would say, correct Ghanaian culture. Because you're watching a Kumawood movie and the insults that come in that movie is like 80% of the actual sense or the impact you want that movie to make on someone. So we'll come to the film industry another day, another time. But today, okay. So with regards to his question on the aviation side, I think you should engage the Ministry of Tourism and then the Ghana Tourism Authority. If you can't engage the airport company directly. Because showcasing Ghanaian culture on the walls inside the terminal should not be anything that difficult. Anyone who enters our shores must feel that I am in Ghana. So even it has to happen even in the colors that they use at the airport. Then it comes to my question. In case they use the kente at the airport, would you charge them for using kente?
It is the state that is using kente at the airport.
Okay. So they will not be charged.
If the state is using kente at the airport,
Yeah, so I think the commission should engage the Ministry of Tourism and then GTA. Maybe you can put something together and let them review it, because the airport needs the presence of Ghana. Before the Terminal 3 was opened, we even asked questions with regards to the colors that they used at the airport. Almost everybody was complaining that the colors that are being used at the airport does not project anything about Ghana. And when you enter the place, fine, you see that you have a beautiful airport and all, but where is the Ghanaianness in it? There is nothing like that. So I would encourage you that it is difficult. I know Ghana, getting to policymakers, those who formulate and all that, is very difficult. But with the kind of portfolio you have, I think you guys can do something about it. It may not be today, but the change can come gradually. Because the GTA has a table at the airport, at the arrival halls. So if you engage them now, write to them, you tell them the proposal, whatever that you need to convince them. They should just start adding just one thing at a time. One thing at a time. When someone enters the airport, after going through all the arrival formalities, the person looks at the GTA box and sees that, oh yes, I am truly in Ghana. It is something doable. It is something doable. I believe that just you keep on pushing.
Yes, yes, Lizzie. We will keep on pushing, and that is why I said, as a point, I had to speak as a Ghanaian, and then be able to be blunt on certain issues. Because I mean, the question that I wouldn't want to answer, but rhetorical, the question that you need to ask yourself is that isn't the GTA under the same umbrella with the National Commission on Culture? So what is the difficulty to even have agencies under the ministry having a synergy where they will know that, oh, what we are doing in creating a desk even at the terminal, I think there's a need for a cultural component, and so let's get some input from the Commission on Culture and see how we can enhance what we do there and all that. Okay, so we will continue to dialogue. We'll continue to advocate for what we know as experts, the right thing that should be done in some of these cases. But there are a lot that the policymaker needs to know and do, because in a lot of the times, there's a little you can do when you know you don't have the backing of any policy.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot of studies, you know the current trends, you know what is going on with sister countries even within the sub-region, but you are unable to do same as an expert in this country because you don't have any policy supporting you, or you don't have any law supporting you. Your ministry has not endorsed it, and your ministry has not allowed you to do. Your government has not resourced you to do that. The government has signed on to a lot of UNESCO conventions, okay? And when you look at the requirements of those conventions, Ghana is not doing much in those areas, okay? But the same parliament has studied these conventions and have ratified them, okay? Making Ghana a member state of those conventions, okay? A member of those conventions.
Yeah,
but
members of those conventions, but we are not doing what the convention said.
Exactly what the convention said we should do. Okay. 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 And all these are policy issues. So it means that right from the word go, upon Parliament ratifying that convention, should also know the state of the agencies that are supposed to carry the implementation of these conventions, and ask whether they are in good standing to do the implementation. So as Parliament, you don't ratify a convention and do not find out whether the agencies identified within the convention are in good standing to carry out the activities of the convention.
So things are being ratified, but they don't know what is going on ground.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Okay, so we have a number of them. And all the time, Okay, people will ask you, UNESCO Ghana Commission will ask you what you are doing about this, what you are doing about that. It's not like an expert you don't know. We've studied the documents, we know them, we have been researching every now and then. It's not like the commission is sleeping, the commission is working, but you need resources to undertake these activities. They don't come so cheap. You need to resource your regional centers, you need to resource your district centers to reach out to communities. One district office of the Center for National Culture may have to deal with about 40 or more communities, but a district officer does not even have a motorbike.
Wow.
How would the community feel the impact of the Center for National Culture in that district?
Yeah.
It does not mean the district officer is not knowledgeable about what he or she is supposed to do, but what is going to carry him or her to the community to work.
The community.
So these are the issues that we are confronted with, and the commission is working tirelessly. The executive director of the commission is working tirelessly, engaging the minister and her deputy, engaging government, engaging the presidency, so that within the shortest possible time, the commission and the Center for National Culture could be resourced, right? So that when you go to the Volta region, for instance, you have a regional director who is well resourced to go around the entire region to know the state of the offices that are working under the region and what they are doing in the various communities. So you have a lot of experts sitting in the offices, and they don't have the resources to make impact in the communities. So these are the challenges we are confronted with. And until our policymakers get to understand and find out that after ratifying these conventions, what are the institutions doing about these conventions? We will continue to work within our limited resources. Of course, we are not sleeping. We are doing the little we can. And that is why with some of the regions that have at least regional centers that they can use to rent to get some IGF. Based on that, they are able to do some programs at the regional level, and they are able to support some of the districts to also undertake some programs. And these are some of the same monies that they use to even organize these entrepreneurial skill programs that I spoke about. So with the little money that we get from government, some of these centers are able to also from IGF run some of these activities. But then, even with the centers, it is not all the regions that have their centers completed since 1990.
Wow.
Okay, so some of the structures are abandoned. They are not completed. When you go to the north, a lot of them are not completed. And so they are unable to even generate IGF from those venues to be able to use them. Apart from that, some of the officers do not even have a good place to, even sit and work because the structures are not completed.
Okay.
Right. So if we are able to also put all this infrastructure in place, it will also, help some of the centers. So you go to Kumasi, for instance, you look at how the Kumasi CNC is, what they usually call the Kumasi Cultural Center.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the kind of ambience and atmosphere that you have to see in every region.
Okay.
Right. And so comparing Kumasi to other centers, you could see that a lot of the other centers lack infrastructural resources. And so government, not just this current government, and subsequent government that will also be coming, all need to pay attention to the Center for National Culture and the National Commission on Culture so that we'll be able to undertake that activity that have been assigned to us as an institution. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So we should be wrapping up. We've done almost 2 hours. I know there are a lot of issues that we've not spoken about. We would engage you from time to time to bring out the issues and how best you can be helped. From Eunice, she's saying, how about someone who uses some of the Dinkra symbols in the form of a watermark background for a work he does for a fee? Then we have from Ola Ojuku, all the way from Benin. She says, good day, Africa. Hi, Ola. Welcome to the show. Then from Eunice again, she says, you're right on point. It appears policymakers are sidelining our culture. Don't they seem to appreciate our culture? Yeah, so don't they seem to appreciate our culture? Don't we all? We all appreciate our culture.
Lizzie, are you sure? Yeah, there are a lot of conceptual issues. So that's what I'm saying, that when we talk about culture, especially within the intangibles, we have a lot of issues here. Why do we call the head of parliament Right Honorable Speaker? What is the implication to our culture?
Okay.
What is Right Honorable Speaker? And what is the cultural implication? When we talk about honorable member of parliament, what do you mean? Okay, so yes, honorable member of parliament. I mean, these are all issues of borrowed culture. What the so-called governance expert will say that a republican system. But what is the cultural implication of imposing a republican system without fine-tuning it to suit our culture, right? So that we'll have the Ochiame of Imrashe Bedrim and not Right Honorable Speaker. Is it wrong to use Ochiame for our brothers and sisters who are not Ghanaians to struggle to also mention Ochiame, so that it will provoke the question, who is Ochiame?
So you said Ochiame. Some
It is an example. It is an example.
I understand. Now we use Ochiame. Some other tribes will also say, why using Ochiame in the Twi dialect? You need to use forever. You need to. So I think that the number of languages that we have in Ghana also sometimes play a role, and the reasons why we are not able to showcase some of these things.
Yeah, but how do you situate? That is what I'm saying. So there should be a link. Okay. That if you should say Right Honorable Speaker, it is Ochiami in Akan, it is also and so in Eve, it is also and so in that. Okay. But as we speak, you cannot connect Right Honorable Speaker to any of our Ghanaian concept. Right. So these are the issues, and it's
supposed to be your job to educate them, to put the Right Honorable Speaker somewhere and try and imbibe the Ghanaianness of the whole situation. Anyway, Richard, so let me give Ahmed a chance to comment on today's session. Hello, Ahmed.
Hi, Elizabeth. Good afternoon to you and everybody on the platform. Yes, it's been very insightful. I really enjoyed Fio today. I don't know him in person, but I'm really impressed. You see, I've been quiet on the whole this thing. I'm just listening. Honestly, he's added a lot of I can say positivity to all the negativity that we have been living with for some time now. And I hope that his voice will be heard. Certainly in Kumasi, we try to stick to our culture as much as we can. You know, we cannot run away from it. We cannot hide it. We live with it every day here. So it's just that I see other regions probably are trying to, if they, I don't know whether I should say modernize themselves with the honorables and the politicians more. We hold in high esteem our traditional rulers here, and we involve them in all our functions and activities. Let me give you this breaking news. You know, Ata Ghana in Kumasi, the African Association of Travel and Tourism Association in Kumasi, is organizing a peace walk on the 28th of November. That is the last Saturday before elections. We've been seeing a lot of tensions here. And we want to send a message across to everybody that we need peace to sustain our tourism in Ghana as a whole. Look at what is happening in our big brothers country now. It's very pathetic. It's very painful. It is sad actually. I must say it's very sad. I'm sure and I'm hopeful something like this will not happen in our dear country here. The peace work we are organizing, we're not involving any politician in it. We're involving all the trade association in our industry. We've been sending messages across for the past 1 week now. We have been circulating the letters, looking for our sponsors, our major, I can say, our major contributors to our peace work will be the religious body because they play a big role in our peace here. And then we involving the dementia. We have had very good responses from dementia. They're going to get deeply involved to send the peaceful message across. Currently, I'm in the office. You see, I was off camera for some time. I'm with the president of the association, Emmanuel Boating. He's just next to me. Ima, please, can you say hi? He's just next to me. We are working on the distribution of the letters. And Ima has put a great effort into this so far. And we will send you an invitation if you want to come and work with us in Kumasi on the 20th. We've invited two from Accra, and they are coming on the 28th. They have confirmed to us. We have most of the trade association under the Ghana Tourism Federation, and this is in also collaboration with the Ghana Tourism Authority. They have been solidly behind us here in this, and I'm very happy. They have been deeply involved. We have a meeting this afternoon at 3 o'clock here. We usually leave the office around 8, 9 in the evenings. Anytime we start at 3, we leave around 9 o'clock in the evening. We're expecting 5,000 people to work with us, so we are arranging 5,000 t-shirts for 5,000 people. So you can see the big task ahead of us very soon. It will be a success, I hope. And it will be full of culture. And we didn't just like limited to the peace work. We're holding a fair at the Kumasi Sports Stadium. After that, we've invited our kente weavers, our beads makers, our carvers, the restaurants, traditional caterers. So it will be a carnival after the peace work. It will be a carnival throughout the night. So you see, even in this, we've involved our traditional activities in it. It is deeply traditional here, and I'm sure you'll have the opportunity to watch it on TV, or because we have TV3 as our partners already confirmed. GTV has also confirmed. Royal TV has confirmed. It's a big event that is coming up, and we're just using tradition, as Fio was saying, to bring more people around us. You know, in Kumashi, we cherish this very much. It's just that sad since the outbreak of the pandemic, we have not been enjoying our Akosi days here. It's something that we really look forward every 40 days, and I hope they will be back very soon. So yes, we have a lot of work to do. I agree with Fio and everything that he said. I hope I can happen to meet him in person and we deliberate on more issues. This is a general problem. It's a problem all over the country. It's not just at where he sits from his office. It's a general problem. We think that if we are modernizing or civilizing, we must walk away from our culture. It's not that. It's not that exactly. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Lizzie. You are always great, doing great job, and I can't wait for next Friday to join you again.
Sure. Thank you for joining us. And would like to engage ATA and the other stakeholders before the peace walk as well on this platform. So let us know when you guys will be available. And
we are available for you always. We are all available here for you always. The peace walk is a long way from now, 28th November, but it takes a lot of preparations to get there. You know, a lot of preparations.
We'll have a session for the peace walk, hopefully next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Ola. Ola. Oh, I think Ola is on mute. Okay. Okay. Hello, Ola. Welcome.
Hello, Lisbeth. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So good to be here. Good afternoon, Africa.
Good afternoon.
Quite some time. Elizabeth, I start by saying you're just dazzling. I don't know, is it because you had your birthday within the week? You're looking beautiful this way. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let me do the video too. Okay. Yeah. I followed the last speaker passionately, and then the questions you were asking also, and about having the colors of Ghana, the airport, and everything. Very, very key. Branding these days is what we've got to all begin to think about in everything we do. Nobody will make the noise about us for us. When I was working with American Airlines, our slogan in those days used to be, "No one knows America like America." so, no one nobody. In fact, the world has gone so selfish that people want to nobody want to get occupied by your issue. They want to showcase themselves the few times you have. So have the colors of Ghana. You've got beautiful kente. You've got even your chocolates is kente. So you have it everywhere at the airport. So once we land, we know. Even if we don't see Ghana, we know we're in Ghana.
Yeah.
With that, and not just for our private establishments and everything, but also for the nation. That's our identity. Some people come, they are transits in Ghana. They may not need to go into Ghana. So just by being at the airport, they will be able to already see enough of Ghana. And I think you asked the question about the film, the films that, if we have films that, of course, they can show on inside the airplanes, and then it will really engage the audience. But you see that most times what we have is the witches and wizards.
And why would you want to be watching a witches and wizard movie?
When you're on air, you're already afraid that any attempt it will be on the high sea. Then now you want to add witches and wizards. So I just make a joke. So it's to say, let us, take it, make it be us. Everything. Sometimes when I look at the case of just Turkey, not to go Singapore, Turkey here. We know a few years ago what it used to be like, but today you go to China, you see made in Turkey. You go to London, you buy made in Turkey. In fact, it's so funny. Most of my people here, they go to China to buy more made in Turkey from China. So let's make noise about us. This month, Cotonou, Benin, really, when our Minister of Commerce, really came up with this one. They've nicknamed the month of October the month of Made in Benin. In fact, for the whole of this month of October, at our Chamber of Commerce, small businesses, everybody, come down with what you've made by yourself, produce them, Benin, and then the Chamber of Commerce will help you with the Ministry of Commerce, will help you showcase it to the world. A very brilliant one, Even us, we and the travel and tourism industry, we've put up stuff to say, consume, local, discover Benin, that's what we're selling, and that's our own thing made in Benin, So I think we're all, some of us are understanding already that that's the way to go with COVID, of course, and it's a good one, a positive one for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll keep making noise about our own story. We need to tell our story. if we don't do that, who will do it for us? So
Nobody.
making noise, and one day, we are sure to head.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Okay, Richardson, thank you so much for joining us on the Aviation Canteen show powered by GH-Aviation. Today we spent about 2 hours on this topic. As I said, we hope to engage you in the future as well, because I know there are a lot more issues that needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
Thank you for today. You have opened my eyes, and I'm sure that you've opened the eyes of our attendees and those who are watching live on YouTube as well. There were lots of things I didn't know about the National Commission on Culture. I've been to some regions and I've seen your buildings. Nothing is happening, and I keep asking myself, so who are these people? What are they supposed to do and they are not doing right? Even with regards to our tourism industry, I ask myself, how best can this institution work hand in hand with the tour operators or the tourism institution as a whole to bring out our culture? I've been asking myself all these questions. So I thank you so much for opening my eyes. But the only advice I would give is, if the policymakers are not helping out, get in touch with a private person. Get in touch with the tour operators, the trade associations. Let them help you help them. Because you see, I think that before the policymakers would even see or think about the importance of the commission, they need to see something. That is how I see our policymakers to be. If they don't see something, they don't put importance on a project.
but Lizzie, who established the Commission on Culture? Did the same policymaker? And what was the motivation? I know a lot of research had gone into the establishment of the commission, and no policymaker as an excuse. Is either you fail to read or you deliberately decide to pay attention to something else. And so, yes, you respect the existence of the institution, but it is not on your priority list.
I think that is what is happening now. So
yes, I would also, Elizabeth, sorry, I would also like to add to this. You know, most of our policy makers are not passionate of the office that they hold.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly
Yeah,
the
so
point,
if I hold an office, if I hold the tourism office, and I'm not passionate about tourism, but it's just because it was a political appointment, you know, there is no way that I can be creative and initiate anything. Even when my team around me, if I even choose the best team, and they come up with proposal and ideas, you know, I do not have that passion. I don't see how this thing will fly. You
then,
see, I'm just because
then
yes,
we have a problem
we need
before.
to put
Yeah, we have a
we
problem.
need, we need to put yes, we need to put the right people in the right place for us to start to achieve results. If we just go there because it's a political appointment and there's no passion in what I do, there's no
Nothing
way.
will happen.
yeah, exactly, Lizzie. So that was my point. That's what I'm saying, that you don't put the entire blame on the current government, because successive governments have failed. Okay, even when it comes to making appointments, okay, and giving people who really have in-depth understanding and the passion, as Ahmed has said, in discharging their duties when it comes to the creative and cultural sector. And this is not just about the MPP government, so that somebody would take me out of, successive governments have really failed. And so the kind of passion that was driving the activities of culture and the creative industry in this country is now quite down. And so we need this advocacy, and dialogue is really, really important. And so that we continue to draw the attention of the current government and subsequent governments about the key role that culture could play in our country. We are now fighting Galamsey, okay? We are now fighting galamsey and fighting, other issues of exploitation of our mineral resources.
Yeah.
But I tell you that with the establishment of our own traditions, okay, this issue of galamsey wouldn't have become a big issue. But now the issue of land ownership itself, okay, and the management of natural resources within communities are now taking another dimension. And so resources in your community is being managed by a minister in Accra. And so you do not have a direct communal regulation that will protect those resources. When we were respecting our traditions, we had a more rich and fertile forest reserves than we have now when we committed those resources in the hands of the Republic, so to speak. Okay? Now we have the Forestry Commission and all that working to protect our forests. When they were not in existence, our traditions and cultural practices had ways of preserving those reserves far better than we are experiencing today. What are we missing? And what can we do to make sure that we get those things right on course? And it is when the National Commission on Culture is well-resourced to be able to carry out its educational and other functions properly and engage other organizations properly that some of these things could be resolved. Why can Ghana Tourism Authority be embarking on activities and ignore cultural component when we fall under the same ministry, for instance? Why is Ghana Education Service rolling out a curriculum that does not have a cultural component? Look, there is no subject in the school that can teach tolerance, peace building, honesty, truthfulness, patriotism, apart from a curriculum or a subject that is about culture and our traditions. Yes, mathematics will not teach you humility. Engineering will not teach you forgiveness. Science will not teach you patriotism. And so you are going to have a medical doctor who has no feeling for the fellow Ghanaian. And so can tell you that I'm not ready to see you, you can go home and die. Right. So you don't train a medical doctor without inculcating cultural values that makes him a Ghanaian medical doctor in him.
That makes him even a human being.
Exactly. And that is why as we speak now, we still have medical doctors from other countries who will take the risk to move to other countries when there are crises to go and save them and put their own lives at risk. It is because of what makes them human.
Is the passion. Exactly.
The passion, yes. Okay, exactly. And so there are subjects that must promote this passion in our people, apart from the professional expertise that we are inculcating in the person. And that is what the National Commission on Culture stands for and must be resourced to do in our country.
Okay, thank you very much. And then to close it up, we have very key, Lizzie. The trend is that they all begin to hear that you are making mind-blowing moves. Then you open their eyes in that direction. So meaning, if the policymakers are not listening to us, let's work with the private individuals, bring out mind-blowing packages, mind-blowing things. For instance, National Theatre. What can we do in collaboration with the NCC to bring our National Theatre out again? Because National Theatre now is kind of like going defunct. Nothing is really happening there. Previously, Kida Fest and all, we are not seeing them again. But this is something that you can work hand in hand with the tour operators, with the tourism agencies to hype it. And for me, in the media space, whatever you want to hype, let me know. I'll put it on my platform. Whatever, you have a news release, anything that you want to do, give it to us, and we will project it. Our mantra is to project everything local, because as we keep saying, if we don't tell our story, no one will. And we need to start telling our stories by projecting and promoting them. Now, everything is social media. Someone can come and sit on social media and bring a nude picture, be naked and everything. Why can't we bring culture on social media? Do things culture on social media, because as someone is watching the nude, another person is also watching the thing that is advising on the culture, that is bringing the values. So Theo, I would encourage you that you spoke about the values. Put something around the values. Let us have it. We'll put it on our sites. We'll project and we'll promote it.
Okay,
From
thank you.
Amuzu, she's saying, good job, Theo. So yes, we have all enjoyed what you said today. And yes, we are there to help. Let us have it. We will promote it.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. On behalf of the Commission on Culture, I would say we are very grateful to you for giving us this platform, and very much thank you to our participants and their questions and comments. Very grateful to Ahmed and Ola for, yes, thought-provoking comments and suggestions. And Ahmed, I'll be very glad to meet you soon. So I'm just going to check if I could also make it to Kumasi on the 28th and see. But whatever it is, I'm going to really try to meet you as soon as I can. I think we can have a very interesting conversation on the way forward.
I will have to look for you.
Yeah. So Lizzie, thank you so much. We already have a lot. So I'm going to connect you to the PR unit of the commission.
Okay.
And I'm very sure they'll begin pushing a lot of information to you.
Yeah, they should just keep pushing.
Yes, and then we would also make sure we connect your link to all the regional centers as well, so that you really get in touch with the grassroots, what really we are doing down there, even at the community levels and all that. So thank you so much for the platform. We are really grateful.
And thank you for agreeing to join us, for availing yourself. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Ola. And thank you to our remaining attendees. I know today we've gone beyond our 1 hour estimated time, but the things that came out today were thought-provoking, were interesting. Sometimes there are things that you don't know about. So when you start hearing of them, you want to finish hearing everything. And that is what happened today. So thank you, everyone. And I'll say bye-bye. But to those who don't want to go now, let's keep networking. Yes.
Sure.
And Phil, I would send you Ahmed's number so that you can get in touch with him.
Great.
Yes, and then send me his number too, please.
Yes.
Send me his number too.
He's a big man in Kumasi.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm sure that you can work hand in hand with him.
Okay.
Ola too is our friend from Benin.
Hola.
Yeah,
Hola,
she's
good afternoon.
very passionate about the tourism industry.
Okay.
We are hopeful that after the borders are opened, we can have some packages between Ghana and Benin.
Sure.
Thank you. And then, all right, so bye-bye. Ahmed, we'll talk behind the cameras so that we can arrange a meet next week.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great one. I keep being beautiful, Lizzie.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care and send my regards to Cleo.
To Cleo, I will. I'm sure she's having a section. That's why she couldn't join.
Take care. Bye-bye.